Welcome to our first panel, The Women of Impact. And this segment is powered by ICTSI, PLDT Enterprise, Smart Communications, RFM Corporation, SM Investments Corporation, BDO, Unibank, and GCP Angkas. And now, let us now meet our distinguished panelists. First is the Executive Director of LVK Group of Companies, member APEC Business Advisory Council of Brunei, Hafimi Abdul Hadi. Hello there. Next, we have the Chairman, Philippine Commission on Women, or PCW, Sandy Sanchez Montano. The CEO of Angkas Philippines, Angeline Tam. And now the CEO and President of Chibo Philippines, Margarita Flores. That's Angeline? Yes. Hi Angeline, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
There's Margarita Flores. There you go. With all her pepper shakers at the back. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, ladies. I am so excited to chit chat with you ladies. And I want to know, okay, I'm looking there. I can see them. Okay, I want to know, ladies, about women, empowering women. First, what advice would you give women entrepreneurs about to start? I mean, right now in the pandemic, people are all scared. What advice would you give to your fellow women entrepreneurs? Oh, there. Yeah, Angeline, let's start with you.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having us here, and congratulations to Go Negotiate again on your 15th anniversary. I think what I would like to say is for women entrepreneurs wanting to start out the pandemic, and I know there's a lot of fear right now, is really to just arm yourself with information on how to keep yourself safe, your family safe, put yourself in a mindset of what your consumers or your potential customers are going to be thinking and facing, and that's just an added layer into what a normal business plan would be, right? And then go out there and take on these opportunities that are out there now because of COVID. There's actually a lot of different opportunities out there, and being the first mover is going to be definitely very helpful.
Thank you for that. How about you, PCW Chair Sandy? What would you give advice? What advice would you give women right now who are all scared and about what's happening? How do they continue on?
Hi, good afternoon to each and everyone. Team Yap, good afternoon. And of course, Chantal. And thank you, Sir Joey. Congratulations to our Go Negosyo for our 15 years anniversary. I'm part of it, so I'm so proud to be part of the Women Conference right now. Okay. First, I would advise our women entrepreneur as your new chairperson of Philippine Commission on Women to be more empowered, to be more advanced, to be more digitally savvy, because this is the right time for us to sell our products in the online internet, but at the same time to be a homemaker, because we are locked down for almost 8 months now. We are inside the home. So in Philippine Commission on Women, we say it that the unpaid care work of cleaning the household, cooking, doing the laundry and everything has increased. But make it a time for you to bond with your family, with your husband, with your kids. And really, I think the learnings that we have in this pandemic is the best thing that we can do is to stay with the family, be safe, and be a part of the solution. Thank you, team.
Thank you so much, Sandy. How about you, Hafimi? What can you?
Thanks, Tim.
hello?
I think just to say mabuhay to all of our colleagues in the Philippines and from others around the world. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think just a quick word of advice is, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think there's always assistance there for you. Secondly is upskill as much as you can. There's a lot of, I know governments are putting a lot of investment into free skill upgrading courses, moving into the digital era. And for some of us who really travel a lot, we take this lockdown as a blessing because we do get the opportunity to spend time with family, and with our kids. And I think watching our husbands also balance the responsibility. I think that's been the great part of what this has what this lockdown has meant to us. Brunei, we've been very lucky. We've only had to endure about 3 months. We are 200 days into no local transmission, but borders are still very firmly shut. So we're pretty much pretty normal here, as much as you can call it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hafim. How about you, Margarita?
Hi, Tim. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. First of all, congratulations to Go Negosyo and to Joey for, can you imagine 15 years, how time has really flown, and how Go Negosyo has helped so many people all these years. First, and then of course to my co-panelists, I am totally humbled and honored to be speaking with all of you this afternoon. And I think that rather than giving advice from my point of view, most especially from the field that I'm involved in, which is food and restaurants and everything that has to do with feeding people, I would like to give actually a congratulations to all our women entrepreneurs, housewives, home chefs, who have actually been the ones who have been trailblazers through this very challenging time, because obviously food has been the most vital necessity for all of us being home, and us being forced to actually stay home and source things from the home. And it's been wonderful to see how housewives and home chefs have actually stepped up and really changed the whole landscape of the food industry. For those of us that have been in food, I've been in the food industry for 33 years now, and I'm actually quite amazed with the challenges that have come because of the competition from home chefs. And it's made our industry so much more vibrant. And that's a real kudos and a big congratulations to the women of the home who have actually done amazing things just cooking for their families. But because of the challenge of the situation, they've shared their products just not in their neighborhood, but through online opportunities. People have found out about their products, and it's made the entire food industry so much more vibrant. So I guess with every challenge, there's always a silver lining. And for the female entrepreneurs, this is a real kudos to you, and let's keep going.
Thank you for that, Gaita. And of course, I have throughout the pandemic, throughout the lockdown, I have seen you pivot your restaurants. I would get a cake made of pasta to celebrate your anniversary. All these things, you've never stopped innovating and pivoting. A lot of the buzzwords for that time would be pivot, new normal. I want to ask all the ladies in this panel, like Gaita, how did you guys pivot during this entire situation? How did you guys deal with the situation and make it to your advantage so that other women entrepreneurs may also learn from your stories? Let's start with you, Gaita.
Well, actually, it was a real wake-up call. It took us a while, to get our restaurants up and running because of the restrictions with the lockdown. For Chibo, which is probably the biggest part of our operation, we have 14 stores. It took us almost a month and a half to get the restaurants up and running again, just serving food for takeaway. Out of 14 stores, just imagine we opened only 2. When we were able to open, actually, because it was a challenge to get our staff to be able to come in. But I think it also allowed us to be really creative. Our staff that used to serve our dine-in requirements ended up becoming our delivery service because they all had motorbikes, and we created our own delivery team to be able to deliver our takeaway, our take-home products. And I think that it's really the resilience of the Filipino entrepreneur that's forced us to really rethink about how to address the new challenges. Apart from Just Chibo, the catering business is totally kind of like it was wiped out because nobody can get together in big groups. So we've had to just do events in small scale. Weddings are now down to 20 people, but it's also been reinvented. We've done a lot of safety protocols to be able to push those little events forward. And apart from that, I think that also thinking of new products. Can you imagine? My son and I started a new ramen operation working with an old time brand called Ramen Ron. So it's really just rethinking and finding a way to be able to network with other people that are experts, let's say in, for example, with the ramen. I'm not a Japanese chef. I don't have any specialization in that, but it's just a good example of how we were able to kind of pivot again using the same word to be able to maximize the size of our kitchen, which was actually it was no longer utilized as much as before. So it's really just like thinking out of the box, and it helps to just be on kind of survival mode because it forces you to really be more creative and be more resourceful.
Oh, thank you for that. I have to also commend the Angkas. You know, at the beginning of the pandemic, when we were distributing food to hospitals for the frontliners, we called Angkas, and at the same time, they were launching their delivery. And of course, you'll say, "Oh, we're launching something. We can't actually accommodate that request." But they said yes immediately. So thank you for that. For the first stage of the lockdown, Angkas delivered food, 1,000 packs of food to 20 hospitals daily, aside from everything that they were doing. So, Angeline, thank you for that, for the help from Angkas. So, please tell us about the past few months. What was life for Angkas been, and for yourself?
Hey, thanks, Tim. I think life for everyone is the same. It's been really, really tough. For the business, we were wiped out, right? I think 99% of our business gone. And we really had to reinvent Angkas, right? So I think one thing was, we started doing more deliveries, right? And then we started a new business called Pabilit, where we decided, like, we were thinking, what can really help most people during this time? So one would be deliveries, two would be helping people buy things for people who can't leave the house. We also partnered with, I think, over 200 restaurants, because we realized that, restaurants now have no ability to have walk-in customers. And so that's something we did. And so we put up a website, we're not Grab Food or Lala Food, right? We don't have those capabilities overnight. But we thought about how we can better serve these restaurants by driving people to the website. They can call in and our bikers will be there to service them. We also wanted to help bikers and frontliners, right? So I think, as you said, Tim, thank you so much for your initiative to help feed the frontliners. So Angkas was doing free deliveries for people who are doing donations to help out in whatever way we could. We also removed commissions from our bikers because we knew it was a really tough time for them. So, everything that all the fares that they got were going to bikers, all of it to the bikers. And I think customers also appreciated that. So we had people calling up restaurants saying that, "Oh, I want Angkas to do the delivery because, I know the bikers are going to get all of it." So those are the little things. And then after we kind of got past ECQ, we were also looking at how can we better serve commuters by bringing back Angkas, right? Because, there's public transportation is a big headache for people and for, opening up the economy. So we did a lot of R&D research. We partnered with, Total Control, a U.S. safety company that trains the Marines. We partnered with a University of Public Health here to come up with safety protocols. And also we developed a shield, a barrier that you can wear on the biker that's aerodynamic and very light. And because safety is really the core of what we do. And we got that approved by NTF. Unfortunately, there's been a long delay on on getting us to where we are today, which is guidelines on how can we bring back motorcycle taxis safely to people, right? Because it's open air, one-to-one. And so these are the guidelines that we worked on in the last few months. I'm happy to say that as of today, like we just got the announcement that Ankas has been allowed to be back in the streets. So thank you, Go Negotiate. Thank you, Senator Poe, for all of your help and support for us to come to this point right now. So we'll be back on the roads tomorrow. So safety protocols will be to have your own helmet, you know, you have to bring face mask, face shield, and all the health protocols. But you know, I think because Ankas is here and our mission is really to bring commuters safely to their destinations on a motorcycle. We're always constantly innovating to see what's the best way we can do it, right? So the shields is one thing, safety protocols another, just to make sure that people feel safe on this mode of transportation. And down the road, we'll also make more iterations to improve on what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Wow, that's great news, Angeline. Congratulations and welcome back, Angkas. So, starting
Thank
tomorrow, we will be seeing the Angkas drivers on the streets already. That's so
Yes,
good.
Tim, do you have your own motorcycle helmet?
Yes, please. I will wear
Yeah,
it for
that's
sure.
great.
You
All
know,
right.
here's for the drivers. You know, women and men alike. Right? Amazing news. Congratulations. How
Thanks.
about Sandy? You've been, you know, doubling up your efforts in, you know, your altruistic
Yeah.
efforts in empowering women has been recognized not just here but all over the ASEAN region. So, what's it been like for you the past few months?
Um, Actually, team, when the lockdown started, the company that we founded, my husband and my family founded, is we call it a social enterprise called Cheers. It's Community Health Education Emergency Rescue Services. So we are in sync. We are frontliners because the industry we belong to, we have medical supplies, we have different go bags, alcohol, cotton balls, and everything, and all this medicine. And then what I am working double time also because during that time that there was this lockdown pandemic, I serve as the commissioner for Philippine Commission on Women on Science and Health. So we know that there is this VAUSI, there are women entrepreneurs, and we have a program with the Great Women, with the DTI, with the Go Negosyo, and with the Department of Agriculture. So every time that we have a chance to talk with them, I ask them, okay, what are the things you do? What are the skills you have? And then they would say, I am a sewer, mananahe. And then they would say that, but you know, there's a lockdown. I used to do bridal gown and everything. So one time when I was there to talk with all these women entrepreneurs, I saw this sewing machine, and the lady is really crying, like sobra siyang natatakot because her husband lost a job and she became the punching bag of the husband. So there is domestic violence inside the home. So I told her that, do you know how to sew a face mask? And then she told me, yes, I could learn. So stop crying. From this time on, you will be part of the solution to this pandemic. So we started the Must Be the Solution. This is a program which initially is started by me. We founded this Kababaihan, Kamay ng Kabuhayan at Kaligtasan. These are 10,000 women sewers all over the country who is now doing the production of masks para sa masa of President Duterte. So on the other hand, I haven't worked so hard for the longest time in my life as a nurse, as an entrepreneur during the time of the lockdown, because the orders of these medical supplies, this everything that needs to be donated, the PPE, the mask in the hospital, in the local government unit, and then the difficulty of our staff was locked down. So I only have my family, my husband, my kids, and a driver. So we work 24/7 just to deliver all the way to Mountain Province, all the way to Batangas, all the way to far-flung areas, the medical supplies they need. And the challenge is the logistics, because we cannot just go out to deliver. We need a lot of health and safety protocol. So during that time, I think I had already 9 swabs, 9 PCR tests, in order for me to just deliver, go out from one province to another. So I need the health protocol, COVID-19, the PCR test. Thanks God for 9 swab tests I have right now from March till now. Team, I am negative. So sometimes, the purpose that we have in life, we really have to see what is God's plan for all of us. Because right now, I can say that as a chairperson of Philippine Commission on Women, we have a bigger platform for women who would like to do entrepreneurship, who would like to be more skillful. We don't want women to be crying. We don't want women to be molested, or that's why we have tomorrow we'll be starting our 18-day campaign on violence against women and children, because we would like to stop violence now. So that's the battle cry of the Philippine Commission on Women, and me as a mother. Um, Maximize the time to teach our children on entrepreneurship, because I asked my 17-year-old son to, can you deliver the donation for Philippine Heart Center, for Philippine National Kidney Institute, and all this hospital. And then because he is tall, 6'2", they would ask, okay, because during that, that there's a lockdown, and 18 years old down are vulnerable, and the senior citizen. So if they would ask, okay, how old are you? And he would say, I'm old enough to deliver these goods because my mom told me to deliver it. So the donation is not in cash, but the donation is in kind for the PPE. And it was challenging, but because of the network that we have in Go Negosyo, we have Mylene Abiba, we have all those, I think, sewers. And what we did is we get all those different fabric, and then they would send it to me. I will assign a logistics to go to all the mananahi. I will give the pattern, and after 1 week, we get all those cut materials, and then afterwards we pay them. So that was how it started from March until now. And the good thing is, from the small number of pieces that the government is ordering, the government now, through the Office of the President and the DTI, is ordering around 25 million pieces of face masks.
Wow,
Or-
you've already made that many face masks. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is
So,
from your
imagine,
operations at
team,
home.
Yes,
Yes.
instead of the government, instead of Department of Health or DBM buying from outside of the surgical disposable mask, we were able to convince the president, the DTI, and of course with all the stakeholders, the IETF team, to just have it sewn here. We are using local materials, from the fabric to the thread. It's all local. So it's 100% locally made, handmade, and the fabric we're using is approved by the WHO, the DOH, and trained also by the Department of Science and Technology with the Philippine Textile Research Industry. So that's the beauty that was created by a woman. That's why we told him that you are the solution. The women are the key for recovery and solution.
Wow, thank you for that effort. That's amazing. Hafimi, how's it been in Brunei?
Well, okay, Tim. I mean, like I said earlier, we've been very fortunate because we only really had less than 3 months of lockdown. But I think in that time, in the first 6 weeks, I would say that you actually saw the community coming together very quickly. We mobilized a lot of young people who actually volunteered within a span of 10 days to make 20,000 face shields. We were scouring around, hitting up all the bookshops. A lot of very good donations just from the community to produce 20,000 face shields immediately for our Ministry of Health and the frontliners. There was also mobilization, all done voluntarily, not just from women, but also young people in general, who actually volunteered to be the frontline, work in the hotels for quarantine, work with the various ministries in terms of helping distribute food to all the frontline staff, nurses, doctors as well. What was very interesting is that we also had a call from single mothers who actually volunteered to do meals. Basically just churn out meals to whoever needed them and then that was distributed within the voluntary network in Brunei. We have been very, very fortunate because not too long after that, in about a month after the crisis started for us in early March, is the digital people were getting some feedback and sending out, and we had set up a contact tracing application. So I'm very happy to say that after about, I would say, 4 months or 5 months into the crisis since March up till now, we are probably about 99% covered by contact tracing app. So this has mobilized, we're a very small country. We're only less than 450,000 people. But for almost 99% to get access and to use this app positively has been very good. It's also shown, how digitalization can actually help entrepreneurship and how people can come together. I think a couple of highlights that I'd like to note is, from a country that literally had zero in terms of a digital platform for delivery, within the span of 2 weeks, we suddenly had 3 different platforms of digital delivery apps and, getting a network in. So I can totally understand with what Angeline was talking about, trying to get logistics sorted out was really a major thing. And as well as echoing what Gaita had mentioned, that suddenly all the hidden talents of home cooks came to the forefront in order to aid frontliners. I think the purest part of what you saw was the fact that all of these frontliners just came out voluntarily. And His Majesty acknowledged that within a couple of weeks of the crisis and mentioned them in a special tita or royal speech, to actually say that he himself thanked frontliners for all the contributions that they've done. So I think for us as a small country, seeing the community come together in the way that they had in that really early part of the crisis was extremely indeed a blessing for the country. So I think that's something that's been very I guess for me, as somebody that's been involved in youth for many decades, that shows the future of the leadership in the community. There was one bit I wanted to focus on, really more on how there's been a lot of programs now that have just, due to necessity, and actually getting single mothers much more involved in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. We've just started a little program together with His Majesty's Foundation where we're doing a modeling, and a lot of the community leaders that have the community leadership that has come forward really is women. So now we're putting in a lot of programs to give them upskilling, branding consultation, in a lot of the products that they produce out of this particular pilot that we're doing. And a lot of this has come from necessity because of the fact that we're locked down. We have to look at other methods of doing import substitution. How can we generate? And I'm sure everyone has suddenly become either an urban farmer or a farmer by necessity. Then you suddenly realize all of these health considerations coming into your diet, which is, I guess, for us, it's very good for the future of a community. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Hafimi. Well, I learned so much, and instantly I wanted to download so many apps because, of course, during this season, all of a sudden you look at your phone and you have so many new apps. But each one of these apps have a particular function that we need in this new normal. Now, I'm really curious because all of you ladies are in very male-dominated worlds. Like there's so many male chefs. Angeline is surrounded by guys in their tech because they're all mostly riders, and of course, Sandy has to deal with government people, and you as well, Hafimi. Has it ever been an issue about you being a woman, and how did you deal with them? How did you convince your male counterparts to be your allies? Because I think as women, you guys know how to charm things to go your way, right? So tell me experiences about that, Hafimi.
Yeah, maybe I guess okay. So I'm an architect. That's my profession. So I'm already in a male-dominated industry anyway. I think I give gratitude and kudos to obviously my late father and my late grandfather, because they never saw gender as a barrier for anything. So I guess in my upbringing, it's never been, it's never been said, oh well, you're a woman, you have to do this, and guys do that. I think I've never been never had that type of stereotyping in my upbringing. I grew up in Australia as well, so you tend to just, whoever gets the best, you're working off merit. So I think that's never been a deterrent. I don't think I've ever really encountered a situation where they said, well, I'm preferencing you because you're female. I think it's just been on merit and your capability. So I've been very, very fortunate, Tim, because like I said, I've had very good support. I have an extremely supportive husband of 20 years. And I am surrounded by mostly guys because we only have a son. So I guess it's for me, it's actually quite normal, to be honest with you.
Okay, this is coming from me because I watched the Queen's Gambit last night, right? So you can see that she was faced with all these men. Like, I'm sure, Gaita, when you deal with all these male chefs, Gaita, what's it been like for you?
Actually, Tim, as you know, I've been, like I said earlier, I've been in the industry for 33 years, but traditionally, I mean, my industry has always been male dominated. The chefs that are famous from way back have always been the male chefs with the tokes on their heads. But I mean, as I've seen the industry change through the years, if you look at every kitchen now, there are almost just as many female chefs in the kitchen, the ones that actually do the work. The industry has changed so much, and if you listen to all the stories of all the most famous female chefs, they will tell you that they became famous and all their inspiration came from their mothers or their grandmothers. So ultimately, if you think about it, the industry is actually driven by the women because the women have always been the nurturers and the feeders. Your mother and your grandmothers are the ones who created the food culture in every home. So, in all honesty, I think that today there's the industry has changed in that sense, and there's been a very very huge acknowledgement from male chefs that the reason why they're inspired and what's created their own statement with the cuisine that they create is inspiration from the women in their families. So, and today in the Philippines, if you look at research with the culinary schools in the Philippines, there are actually more female chefs now. I mean, female students that are learning culinary skills and in hospitality schools. So I think what we just need to push is for the industry to give the women a fair chance to be able to get hired, because sometimes it's their gender that compromises their opportunity and their chances to be employed. So that's where our struggle is. But the industry's changed so much. Women power, we're there. We're getting there, and we're changing the industry altogether.
Exactly, and we have a Philippine Commission on Women. So, Sandy, what are you guys doing for the women to make sure that we champion them even more?
Yeah, thank you for that, Tim. Okay. Actually, when we talk about male-dominated industry, by profession, I'm a nurse, but I focus on pre-hospital care. Because of my background, 1990, I was a survivor of the earthquake that killed 1,600 people in Baguio City. I don't know kung buhay, ilang taong ka na noon. I don't know how old are you guys, but I was a nursing student during that time. So I survived that earthquake. I was 3 days under the rubble. So on the last third day that I could no longer breathe, I prayed hard to God that God, if this is my last day on earth, let my cadaver be found so that my family could have closure. So I pass on. Then I could see from up there that there was these rescuers who get me out of the rubble because the Department of Health don't have the black bag. So I was put with the cloth. So I was in the Burnham Park on the 5th day. My heart start to beat again. So I promise to God that thank you, God, for giving me second chance of life. So I promise that I will do it for the humanitarian service. I didn't realize that during that time, when we talk about responding, when we talk about paramedics, when we talk about rescuers, when we talk about safety, these are all dominated industry. That's why whenever I want to volunteer, I want to be trained, they would always say na, wag na yan, babae yan. She is not part of our asset. She's a liability. So I will not be part of the priority if there is a rescue, there's a response. So moving back, flashback, when I was already married, our married couples, I convinced my husband, which is very supportive of me. We complement each other because by profession, he's an artist, a painter. Also, he need all his time, this word for his moment to draw landscape and good portraits, while I maximize my time outside to do training. So I asked him, okay, let's set up a foundation. So through the foundation, we were able to train hundredfolds, thousands of different people from here and ASEAN. So they were empowered to be volunteered, to be part of the solution whenever there's a disaster. So one time we went for a rescue trip in Tacloban. There is this Haiyan, the Yolanda, one of the strongest typhoon we have in the world. So the pilot asked me, okay, I'm sorry, but you're a woman. We should prioritize all the men because there's no enough place for you to stay because you're a woman and then and that. So what I did is I asked all the volunteer women to join me together. So on the third day, we went back to the team. I think we were five ambulances. Majority of us are women. So when we arrive on the scenario, on the place in Tacloban, you could see the different aspect of how a woman would rescue. Because I saw this mother. I asked him, "How are you? Have you eaten?" And then she would say, with the tears on her eyes, a smile on her face, she would say, "I'm fine, I'm okay." But she is crying. So all you have to do is embrace. And then the rest is history. Like what Chef Gaita is saying, that the women will be the frontliners when it comes to health, nutrition, if there's a disaster, if there's calamity. And then on the side of the safety, we set up the school because we have seen that every now and then, disaster, calamity, like pandemic would be part of our new normal. So we set up the school. After 2 years, we set up the school. So we teach safety training, basic life support, all these things that you think that only men can do. So in the safety process, we are dealing with engineers, architects, all this construction, all this male-dominated stuff. So again, as a woman, I use my charm as a woman to be an advantage because I would like them to consider setting up in the area, in the construction site, a different restroom for women and men for some privacy. That's gender mainstreaming. At least there should be an area, a room for breastfeeding, for lactating mom, and so on and so forth. So now that I am sitting as a chairperson, I could see that there's a landmark law that we could do together to empower and protect the women that is working and to be given equal opportunity for promotion and work. If you empower a woman, as if you are making a better world in the future. So the women and girls, I think, would be the best asset that we could have because we have the half of the population. Thank you, team.
Yes, because there is we in women. That's all of us all together, right? And Angie, I would see you in a sea of thousands of drivers wearing your biker jacket, right? It's like a statement that Angie is saying, "I'm as tough as all of you guys." Right? What has there been challenges for you, Angeline, through Angkas?
I would say that if for challenges in Angkas, there's definitely been a lot of challenges, but I don't think it's tied to my gender, right? So like Hafimi was saying, I've been also very blessed to grow up in an environment where it's meritocracy and where the mindset that women cannot accomplish something is it's not really in my psyche, right? So I mean, if to your initial question was what are the barriers for women, I believe that the barriers right now is really our own mental barriers of, oh, I'm a girl, so I can't do this, right? I mean, aside from like physical work, right, like sports or things that you need to do physically, there is a difference between men and women. But otherwise, the women pioneers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers that have pioneered to push for women equality, for us to be able to vote, we are reaping all the benefits now, and we need to honor those women who set the stage for us right now, right? So I think, it's like we need to get past our own barriers. We're just as smart as guys. We have different skill sets that we need to embrace, right? Like our charm, the fact that we're more in tune with our emotions and we can connect to other people on an emotional level, sometimes more so than men, right? So I think knowing our strengths and weaknesses, we can embrace them and use that to kind of like move forward in our own way, right? So if you tell me like I'm a girl in a sea of men, I don't see that as any different. I think of it as an advantage even, right? Because it's different, and I know how to take care of my bikers because I think about them not just in a dollar and cents thing. I think about them on an emotional level, and I want to take care of my bikers, and that sincerely comes from the bottom of my heart. And you can see that from a top-down approach from all of my staff. That's something that's required and something that we practice on a daily basis. So it's actually worked out to be a very big strength for us. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You said when you said mothers and grandmothers, honoring them, I got goosebumps. And of course, I remembered my mother, my grandmother, and all the women who came before me that is empowering the next generation. So since this afternoon, we're talking about, in the women conference, we're talking about women of impact. I want to know for you ladies, this is to wrap things up, what is your biggest achievement and what are you most proud of in your career? What achievement and impact have you made, and how are you empowering the next? Hafimi, let's start with you.
I think Tim, maybe just two examples that I feel that has delivered empowerment, not just to women, but I mean majority would be women, but just to young people, is one project that we've set up whereby they're actually graduates. It's a group of graduates who haven't been able to get a job. Unfortunately, a majority were female graduates, and we actually pulled that up with a crazy idea about 2 years ago to say, hey, why don't you just intern within a garment factory? A garment factory is in Brunei, traditionally as a Bruneian, it's not an occupation of choice, nor even of thought. And I'm talking 2 years before, and now I look at them. They've actually been given an opportunity to set up their own facility by one of our ministries of youth. So they actually banded together and they formed their own company, and they also hire women within their organization who were trained by them. Again, a lot of it were women from either single mothers or supporting children who had to support elderly parents or with very difficult backgrounds. So we're very proud to say that this particular company has now we've just passed out their 1 year mark. They are also in a way a subcontractor to a larger company that provides clothing, that supplies clothing to Disney, Universal Studios, and Hard Rock Cafe. And this is coming from a very small organization that was started, homegrown. So they in turn have now extended a program with our community whereby they would actually start training any interested ladies who want to go into that line. I know for obviously in the Philippines it's a slightly different context, but for Brunei, because we're not a culture that's traditionally been in that area of manufacturing. So for them as young people to want to stick it out in a very difficult industry, but at the same time empower and get grassroots, seamstress and people who are interested in the industry to actually formulate doing some sort of supply chain that can go global. I think that's been a very impactful project. That's one, and then the second one, which I had mentioned before, was on with was what we're doing at the moment with His Majesty's Foundation, and even in this, we're taking a very similar theme to actually improve and develop the global market for our traditional weavers. So that's two areas that I feel that we've created a lot of impact this year, alhamdulillah, and we hope that we can share, and obviously through networks such as Go Negocio, it's something that we can replicate here, and we hope that we can learn from what the Philippines has done within your own traditional handicraft section as well. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Hafimi. Now, Margarita, what impact, what achievement and impact are you most proud of in your career? And we know it's a career of 33 years and beyond of, empowering all of us by giving us all this great food. So I'm curious, Gaita, what do you have to say to this? Oh, Margarita, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself. There,
Unmute.
there you go. Again.
I think in all humility, I think it's the role of us women being nurturers. The feeders. We're the ones that actually carry children, which men can never say they can do. And I think
Yeah.
that's the uniqueness that we women really need to celebrate. We are the nurturers, we're the feeders, we are the ones that give life. And I think that perhaps that's the part of my essence that I've celebrated these 33 years with the work that I've done with food. And I think that most especially here in the Philippines, 33 years ago, working with your hands was never something to be proud of. People with my background were either working at banks or working at financial companies, and I guess the chance to be able to work with your hands and really be in touch with what you share with the rest of the world, I thought that perhaps being a pioneer in that is something that I can say that I'm pretty proud of, and I think that it is the essence of what we women are. We feed, we cook, we nurture. So to be able to give honor to that, I think that maybe calling attention to that 33 years ago is something that I would like to be thankful for, that I was blessed with the chance to be able to celebrate that very early on. And nowadays, the female chef is no longer a unique reality in our situation. The female chef is now everywhere. And I think that that's a wonderful thing to celebrate. We nurture, we feed, and to be able to put that in an institutional setting is something to be proud of. And I think that for all the women chefs out there, keep going. And for those who are not formal chefs, the home chefs, this is your chance now to be in the spotlight. And I'd like to think that that advocacy that I've championed all these years is something that is a nice thing to celebrate. We're one, and we're all together in this wonderful blessing, not to be able to feed people and to share our role as nurturers, being women. Thank you.
Thank you, Margarita. And I feel the joy in your voice every time you talk. It resonates, right? So much joy. Now, Angeline, please tell us what's the biggest achievement and impact that you've had in your career?
I would have to say it's really Angkas, right? Being able to impact so many lives. We've trained over 100,000 bikers, but we've only onboarded 30,000. And that's because we believe that education is very important. So training is free. In this country, we have fun facts of 18 million motorcycles and one motorcycle school. Therefore, like the terrible statistics that you see in accidents, right? So just being able to help improve that record for motorcycle bikers who come take our training is already a big upside for us. And I think on top of that, it's the education and also the ability to give people livelihood. So they're entrepreneurs in their own right, and I think I love the way that when Angkas bikers, pass and finally become Angkas bikers, they're very proud to be Angkas bikers because, we've built a community where they're proud to be an Angkas biker. It means something to them. And, before, as a habal biker, you're on your own, you're kind of like hiding a little bit. But now, when you become an Angkas biker, you get treated with respect that one hopes when they're doing good work for people, right? Which is to transport someone from place A to place B safely. And to me, that's really something that keeps us going, keeps me going, despite all of the problems that we face from time to time. And then just being able to inspire other women. I think that's also another thing that I'm very proud of, right? So thank you for all of these events where we put together successful women who can really, I guess, just light the way and let people break out of their own mental barriers that, being a woman is not a disadvantage. It's an advantage that you can use. And you just have to believe in yourself. And there are a lot of women leaders out there, myself included, who are more than happy to help you with any questions that you have along the way, right? Which is why I think Go Negosio is such a great platform as well, to kind of reach out to as many people as possible who are aspiring to achieve something for themselves. So thank you.
Wow, thank you for that, Angeline. And I'm sure a lot of women would look up to you as a mentor, as well as, of course, we have Margarita Hafimi. And now, last but not the least, our the Council of Women Chair, Sandy Montano.
Well, thank you, team, and kudos and salute to all our panelists here. I've learned a lot. And for me, a woman of impact is someone that is empowered beyond measure and beautiful beyond pressure. So when we talk about women, we are the everyday hero in the lives of our children, of our family, of the community that we serve in. We can be a women of impact by there's a lot of problems, perennial problems that we have in this country and in the whole world, but we can make a difference by touching the lives of the people that we serve most. The things that I've narrated prior to during our panel is a precursor of bigger things that came as part of God's bigger plan to me when I was given a second list of chance of life. My commitment expanded to include women and girls and their mostly untapped capacity to wonderful things. I remember Maita, Havini, and Angeline and team, when I was awarded 2014 in ASEAN in Myanmar as the first Asian woman leader. And during the press con, the media asked me, what industry you belong? So in my mind, I'm thinking, how would I explain the industry I belong to? And then they told me, are you in skincare, beauty care, lingerie, whitening, or anything that has to do with women, children? And I said, no. So they asked, oh, being a first Asian woman leader, what industry you belong and how come you won over the 9 other women leaders of the 10 countries in ASEAN? I said, I am a nurse by profession. I wear white uniform, but we're dealing with all the viruses and bacteria and all these diseases that come a long way with our job. I focus and my expertise is on pre-hospital care. That's why we are doing a lot of rescue, sustainable livelihood and resiliency, and we do some feeding program, and we do a lot of response. So we're dealing with all these death-defying cases and scenarios. And the media said, oh, it's not elegant, it's not demure. So this is what we call an empowered woman, a woman of impact. If in this industry that we belong, we show that we can make a difference being a woman, then I would choose to be in that industry for the longest time that I am alive here in the country. So thank you so much, Go Negosyo. Thank you so much, PA Joey, for giving us a chance to inspire more women, not only here in the country, but all the girls that is watching right now. Magandang hapon po.
Thank you so much, Philippine Commission on Women Chair Sandy Montano. Thank you so much, Angeline Tam, Angka CEO, Margarita Gaita Forest, CEO and President of Chibo Philippines. And thank you so much, Hafimi Abdul Hadi, Executive Director of the LVK Group of Companies. So now before I let you go, let us do a group photo before we proceed to the next part of the program. And we would like to remind everyone to please share our Facebook Live link and use our official hashtag GoNegosyo15. Okay, ladies, big smiles. There you go. And 2 thumbs up, please. 2 thumbs up. Let's empower our women entrepreneurs. There you go. Thank you so much again, ladies.